Welcome to the Bravery webinar. It is also April Fool's Day, so you're just gonna have to guess each time I do this who I am dressed as. So who do you think I am dressed as? And I will take your comments in the chat. And I'll just tell you truthfully, I don't really know. We have a whole box. Wait 1 second, my son has an opinion. I'm gonna ask him who he thinks. My son believes that I am a moose. What other comments do you have? Please type them into the Q&A section or into the webinar. I'm Bullwinkle from Rocky and Bullwinkle. I like it. All right. All right. So you will be seeing me doing my own version of Bravery above the neck. So things that I can show you that just show that I am willing to be silly with you because it's April Fool's Day. We had a choice of when to take our webinars, and I took this time because I was excited about it being April Fool's Day. So let's start. I'm gonna have a hat on for every section. So I think I have about 5 hats, so you'll know that I have about 5 sections. Why do I care about bravery? I think my parents did a really brave thing when I was young, when I was around 6 or 7 years old. They took us, my younger brother and I, and they left Russia, where we were Russian Jews, and they went to America. And it was not easy as an understatement. They didn't have anything when they came to America. And so I think that I saw that example of what they did and who helped them and how they then said thanks to all those people and tried to even repay the kindnesses. I saw all that. And I think bravery is hard. And it's also hard to make it into a habit. So the way that I think about bravery and the way that I'll be talking to you about it for these next about 20, 25 minutes, and then I'll open it up to Q&A. The way that I most believe in bravery is in thinking of bravery as an investment. How can I invest in my bravery? Let's say it's today. What's today? April Fool's Day. So April Fool's Day, then April 2nd, April 3rd, April 4th, and so on. And what if each day I invest in my bravery a little bit more? How can I do that? What can I do? Today, we're going to be talking about 3 different braveries: bravery in the past, bravery in the present, and bravery in the future. So you should walk away from here having 3 types of questions that you can ask yourself. Any other comments or questions, please feel free to drop them into the chat or into the Q&A at any point. I shall now go on mute as I reveal my next hat to go into the next section. I kind of feel like I'm between someone who's really excited about bravery research and somebody who's a magician of hats. So I shall be right back. Okay, you might think this is very 1980s, but it's more than that. So just a moment while I figure this out and make it. All right, so hello, first part of bravery. And maybe it's appropriate that this is kind of 1980s. What is your bravery in the past? So these 3 lenses, the past, the present, and the future, are 3 ways that you can tune in to your real bravery. Your bravery in the past. For your bravery in the past, think about a time when you were especially brave. And I gave you the example of my parents. I can think of a few times of my own that I'll share, but think of a time when you were especially brave. And the reason that I'm asking you to think about it is so that we can have a common discussion. So think of a situation. What happened in that situation? Did you speak up on someone else's behalf? Did you do something that you didn't expect that you would do? What did you do in a situation in which you were brave? I'll take some comments in the comments section, in the chat section. You can make them just to me, just to the panelists, or you can make them to everybody, however you prefer. And I'll read off some of these comments so that we start talking about what are some of our examples of bravery in the past, and that way we can get into the first of these 3 tools. So I'll just pause as I look at the comment section. Somebody said they moved across the country by themselves for a new job. Another of applying for a job at a top company. One person of moving to a different city, being by their daughter when the daughter was in the ICU, going on auditions. No, this is asking their wife to marry them, opening their own business. And actually, you're not seeing him. It's April Fool's Day, and everybody knows we're at home, but my son is down low in this webinar. I told him, I invited him to this Bravery webinar, and he gave me an example too. He's 5.5, and he said, when I thought about we've talked about Passover at with our family, and just how there was a time when people wanted to kill the Jews. There may often be such times, but he had thoughts about it, and so he was brave in standing up to those. So pretty deep thoughts. Talking to people about whether you can or can't have kids, that's some bravery that people are describing. Bringing home a baby while the twin sister was still in the NICU. Standing up to an organization by sending a letter to the board of trustees and going out on their own as a consultant. Going into a doctoral program. Staying friends with someone who is isolated from a group. That's a little bit of speaking up bravery. I will talk about that. I'm glad someone gave that as an example. Not following peer pressure to isolate a person. Volunteering to participate in an event when other people did not. Performing in front of over 800 people. These are all brave. Skiing for the first time at age 34. I like that one. Giving frank feedback to a subordinate who's not meeting standards and denying somebody's kind of promotion or reapplication to a job. These are important things. What you're talking to me about is not light. It's real things. And here's the thing that I'm going to ask you to think about in terms of your bravery in the past. How is that a way that is your bravery DNA? How is that, I'm using that term loosely, but how is that a way that it's your style of bravery? And I'll give you an example. Some of my bravest experiences have been, and I'll even give you context. My sport for fun, the sport that I love is rock climbing, mainly indoor rock climbing, but also outdoor. My friends will say that that's brave or very interesting, but I just love it. So I actually don't think of that as bravery. I've started several companies, including now I run a coaching company with 83 coaches. I don't feel that that's brave. So a lot of things that somebody else might say is brave is not what I feel is. But I do feel probably that about 3 times in my life and at different points, starting from high school, it was speaking up for something that I believed in, even though it wasn't a popular opinion. And in high school and in business school and even later, it's writing a public thing in the newspaper, but writing a public stance on something that I knew was not how most people around me saw the world, but just to kind of open people's eyes to what I believed an injustice was. And I had so much palpitation and just, is this the right thing to do? And am I writing it correctly? So much, am I doing this the right way? So that for me it's kind of a speaking up bravery. So now what I'm asking you is, what is your bravery DNA? Given these examples that you've said, think of your example and think of other examples in your life. What is common to them? What is a situation in which it is more comfortable for you to stand up and be brave? So just give that a little thought, and could you give me some comments? And again, I'll read them out anonymously. Your bravery DNA. What is your bravery DNA? What is common to your situations of bravery? Those situations in which it feels comfortable even for you to take on bravery, or you're more likely to take on bravery. Being vulnerable and sharing stories to resonate with the soldiers that this person teaches. Possessing a sense of what's right and what's wrong, and then acting appropriately. So for this person, when they know what's right and wrong, it's easier for them to act bravely. Speaking up when this person has an opinion and a point of view, and challenging the status quo to push themselves and others to be the best. This bravery DNA is standing up for others who are being treated unfairly. That's a little bit like mine, so that resonates with me. So typically an isolated person who cannot otherwise speak up. Radical caring. So when it has to do with a lot of heart is what it sounds like, radical caring. It's easy for one person to get into a brave actions and a brave mindset when they choose the mindset of, this is an experiment. I love that. I actually could do a whole 20-minute session on that. It's one of the questions that we ask in coaching, which is, what if this is an experiment between today and when I speak with you, the leader that I'm coaching, when I speak with you in a week? What's an experiment you can take? What if you think of an action as an experiment? So I love that as a framing. People are saying taking chances even though the outcome is unclear. So I have to say, this is fascinating to me. I taught this class, Bravery, in my home and work. I taught this at Stanford Continuing Studies 2 times, maybe 3 times, but at least 2 times. And we, in both class sessions, we had this debate. For some people, it's easier to be brave when the situation and outcome is uncertain. And for others, it's easier when things are more certain, when they can control it a little bit more. So I'm using that as an example to say we have that range, which is why my first question that I'm asking you is, what is your bravery DNA for you? What is that thing that for you in the past, in this kind of situation, you've been able to reach out to that? So I'll just read a couple of others and then go on to our points 2 and 3. When somebody feels strongly that a decision is morally correct. What we have just done is we have done bravery in the past. Now, how can you use this? I gave you an example. I asked you to look at it. I asked you to think about it in your life. If that's the case, how can you use it in the future? If you're faced with a situation and you've done bravery in a similar situation, so for example, for me, speaking up for something when I know it's not the social norm, or that is not what the people around me are thinking, I know that I've done it before. And so I can do that kind of bravery DNA, that kind of bravery again. So my question to you, leaving this first category, first of 3, bravery in the past, how can you sometimes think back to your own bravery in the past? There's a beautiful concept in psychology called psychological safety and also psychological capital. Psychological capital is when you have enough buildup in your mind, in your body, in your emotions, that you're willing to take some actions or willing to do something. So in a sense, thinking back to your bravery DNA can build up or can remind you of that psychological capital you have and can make you even more willing to take a different action. So, okay, we've done that. We've gone to bravery DNA. The next one is going to be a very, very, very typical, wow, I have to move the whole camera. Witch's hat. I've never had to speak this low in the camera in order to show off the sparkles on the top of my hat. I am so glad it's April 1st. So on April 1st, we've just, it's what?
April Fool's Day, not
April Fool's Day and April 1st. April Fool's Day and April 1st. Item number 2, bravery in the present. We've done bravery in the past, bravery in the present. This is a little bit of a tricky one. There's a lot of writing on fear and the benefit of fear. And one of my favorite sets of writing about this is by somebody who used to work in defense of people like the president and celebrities. So they're security guards, all of that really, really high thinking, high functioning group. They have to be brave in the present. What does that mean? That means they have to be alert to everything that's going on. They have to be very, very ready to act. A lot of the worst things that happen in crowd situations happen within 6 seconds. So that bravery has to happen almost instantaneously. You have to almost be carrying it at your surface level in the present. So what does that mean? Two aspects to what it means. I feel so funny being in such a tall hat. I just have to comment on how it's so cool. It sparkles. Thank you to my kids for getting it. Okay, bravery in the present. Thank you. So if you are ever, should this happen to you, you are here on the call today, should it happen to you that you become a celebrity, wild, famous celebrity for your book writing, for your speaking tours, for whatever it may be. And let's say you have security, you have some security detail. In reading this very, very intense and detailed and a little bit technical book on security and the importance of being ready to be brave at any point, here's a conclusion that I drew. If you are the celebrity and really famous, do not make this one mistake. Do not ever, if you have a coffee mug in your hand, or if you have a notebook that you're carrying, do not ever give that notebook to your security detail to hold for you. So don't ever give them a different task, another task other than them just looking out for you and watching out for you. Why? Because their mind is so sharply attuned to what is going on around them and what could be coming at you, at the whole situation from any direction, that if they have this additional thing to think about, I'm carrying a notebook or I'm carrying a coffee mug, it is distracting from the other things where they have to be right there, right at the surface, ready to react, to be there. So should you become a celebrity, never let your security detail take on another task other than what they're supposed to do. But the other side of that is that there's this alertness, and that alertness right at the surface so that people are ready to react. And let me take some comments from you. What do you think in your own life it would take for you to have that alertness and that readiness? What do you need to do in your life so that in every moment you would be ready for anything that could happen? I'll take some comments. I'm really, really curious what you all are going to say. It's a little bit of a general question. So here are some comments about people saying what would make you most ready in that situation if you were the security detail. Somebody saying maybe affirmations. Somebody saying is maybe getting additional strengthening through meditation. Somebody saying having the right mindset, like if someone you care about is at risk. Someone saying actually it's that repetition. It's the repetition of action or repetition in training. It's like scanning for animals when you're driving at dusk. So this kind of alertness. Yes, I will say yes to all of those things, and I will also add another level. It's being at your ready. Being at your ready is such an important thing that you could do, that the best things to do there are, it's so basic, you're gonna laugh in the middle of this webinar. It's sleep. It's making sure that you're well enough hydrated. It's making sure that your body's ready enough and limber enough. For example, this is a little bit of a digression, but a sport that I've really been enjoying from time to time is this thing, it's called the movement culture. And it's these people who like to move kind of like kids and like animals. They have a lizard walk and a horse walk, but it's moving your body in ways that move the whole body as opposed to more specific motions like bicep curls. Bicep curls. I know what bicep curls are, just so you know. I didn't think the previous one was. So what am I saying about bravery in the present? It is how can you get yourself, whether through meditation, it might be through scanning, it might be through affirmations, but really through sleep and through to a point where you are at that readiness. Because if you are at that readiness, then you're going to be able to catch those signs. And I'll even tell you, this isn't about security detail. This is about if you are in a room of 3 people and one person makes a joke about the other person, but it's just a little uncomfortable. Are you at the ready enough physically with your body? Are you at the ready enough to react, maybe to pull that person aside, to comment, to not let something that's painful or harmful to another person go by? Can you be at the ready? So if we have this definition of bravery in the present, which is being ready, which I mainly define as sleep. I define it as sleep. I define it as observation, as calmness. What is one thing you can do starting today to have more bravery in the present? So please go ahead. Mine is sleep. So mine is sleep. It's going to bed at the same time each day. What is your one thing? I'll start reading them off. While you're commenting, I'm going to do my hat switcheroo. So I'll see what else I have down here. One moment. All right, this is part of, I think this is part of an ER costume. Gratitude practice, healthy body, definitely sleep as well. Someone is saying sleep and exercise. All right, can you see it well enough? I'm actually gonna go 2. This one's hard to wear. So I'm gonna go between this and someone that kindly my son shared, which is this one. I don't quite know what it is, but this is certainly about bravery. It's a duck. It's certainly about bravery in the future. Wow, do I love it.
Flying duck.
It's a flying duck. It's a flying duck.
On your head, because it's on your head. If you want invisible, it's a flying duck.
It's a flying duck. Thank you for your comments. Someone's saying so cute, a flying duck. Music, people are saying being at the ready is music, it calms the soul. I feel like this is going down below my eyes, so I'll try this one a little bit more, but we're getting there, everyone. Thank you. So we have bravery in the past, which is relying on those things that most lead you to bravery. Bravery in the present, which is that being at the ready. Again, for me, it's mainly sleep. It's a little bit of movement, limberness in my body from week to week, but day to day, for me, it's sleep. But whatever it is for you, there's gratitude practice, music, people are saying. So we've done bravery in the past, bravery in the present. The next one is, of course, it's bravery in the future. I'm sorry, this is too distracting for me. I'm moving on to my next hat only because I have extras. So this, I think, is a fabulous angel hat. Wow, this is my Halloween show in addition to my April Fool's show. All right, bravery in the future. When my grandma was older, she's no longer alive, my babushka Manya, my grandma Maria, I used to call her every day at 3 p.m. I don't know why, I just got into that habit. Some days I might miss it, rarely, but it was so nice for me. I know she really loved it too, because she used to say that to my dad, her son, but it was so nice for me. Sometimes we didn't even talk for so long, but for me, it was a routine. She would tell me how she's baking her bread. She would tell me what she's been doing and getting ready, what's going on in her housing complex. So I had this thing of something that I was doing at 3 p.m. all the time. And when I started thinking about bravery and reading a lot about it and reading what's important about bravery, it comes to me that in order to structure your bravery, you need to put some structure in place. So I thought about how can you structure bravery to almost have a reminder of it? Because if you are investing in your bravery, which you are by being on this webinar with me, what can you do so that it keeps growing? Again, April Fool's Day, April 2nd, April 3rd, and so on. So structuring bravery for the future. I would like to call this bravery at 3 p.m., but you can call it whatever you want. In fact, you'll see at the end of this description, I'll ask what your time is. What if you have a little reminder that pops up on your calendar, Monday to Friday at the same time each day? Mine is at 3 p.m. and it literally asks me a question. It's a 15-minute appointment with myself. And it asks, what is the bravest thing I can be doing right now? I do that because at 3 p.m. it's nearly the end of my workday. And so if there's something I haven't done, if I haven't done the most important thing, I will do it then. But some people that I've talked to, they like to do this between 6 and 9 a.m. They like to do it between when they wake up and when they start their day. What is the bravest thing I can do today? So what I'm saying is that thing that grows for you, that those steps, it grows over time because you're asking about it. You're keeping it aware. It's like being aware of that red Volkswagen Beetle. So if you have that in your head, you're going to see it again and again. So one way to keep bravery top of mind is to decide what time, when, and also what it is that you're asking. So some people like to say, how have I been brave in the past day? Some people like to say, how can I be brave? Some people like to even customize the question, how can I reach out to someone? So for example, for them, if networking is a little tricky, how can I reach out to someone today? So my question to you is, what time of the day would you ask yourself a question if you were to ask yourself a question? Could we have some comments? You can just say 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 9 p.m. What time of the day would you want to be reminded of, oh, when was I brave in the past day, or when am I about to be brave, or a specific customized topic? I'm seeing 11 a.m., 6:30 a.m. You go, 6:30 a.m., 1 p.m. 1 p.m., that's an interesting time, like right after lunch, middle of the day. Someone already has a reminder on their phone at 3:20 p.m., 11 a.m. You know, we got a lot of people between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. when I taught the class at Stanford Continuing Studies. Early in the morning, 6, I know, some people are saying 10 a.m. and setting a specific resolution. And then my question for you is, what question would you want to ask yourself if you are planning for the day? What question would you want to ask yourself? Mine is, what's the bravest thing I can do right now? But what question would you like to ask yourself? Setting a specific resolution for the following day. How can I be brave today? What's the most important thing I can do today? How can I stretch myself out of my comfort zone? I have to tell you, when I taught this class on bravery, one of the biggest things we talked about is how can you be brave right at the edge of your comfort zone? So you're always at that edge and always tweaking it. Oh, I love this one. What's the kindest thing I can do for myself? Okay, I'm moving on to my last hat, which is, oh, this one's going to be a fairy hat, if I can get it on. This is my fairy hat from a fairy costume. What have we done? We've done bravery in the past, bravery in the present, and bravery in the future. Bravery in the past is what circumstances or what situations are most likely to lead me to act bravely. Bravery in the present is sleep, or whatever your version of that is. Sleep, right? Sleep, or whatever your limberness, meditation, whatever your version of being at the ready. And the final one, the bravery in the future, is setting a time when either it's a pop-up or you have a post-it at your computer, but when you have a reminder for yourself. something about growing this bravery. I'm going to do a mini conclusion, and then I'll take any questions that we have. The mini conclusion is, this is a process of investing in something that's important to you. In this case, bravery. But I also want to give you a hint that this is a process that you can use for investing in anything, in compassion, in kindness, in gratitude. Thinking about, what have I used to be grateful in the past? How can I be more grateful in the present? How can I be more grateful in the future? So whatever that thing is that's important to you, you can use this process. It's been delightful spending this time with you.